Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to the first computer-aided design tutorial by Lambda Robotics FRC Team 9477 from Lambert High School in Swanee, Georgia. I'm super excited to be talking to you guys here today, so without further ado, let's get started. So here's a quick table of contents, you guys can review it. We're going to start off with a little bit of an introduction, then look into what computer-aided design is, then we're going to start with our lesson for today, and then we'll look at a quick guided practice. About. So my name is Arva Gunadhan. I'm a junior here at Lambert High School, and I am the second CAD design and 3D printing officer for Lambert Robotics here at Team 9477. If you guys have any questions after this presentation, I will be putting in Lambert Robotics' email, so please email them as you want. You can also post in the comments in the description if needed. So yeah, let's get started. So what is CAD? CAD, otherwise known as computer-aided design, refers to the ability to develop computer models of concepts and objects to supplement solutions. And Lambert Robotics, for example, we use CAD to map out electrical boards, design subsystems, and experiment with and identify problems with basic designs. The software we use is OnShape. In today's lesson, you will learn about the major fundamentals of CAD design, which will take you far in the CAD development cycle. We're going to be using OnShape for this project, so uh, there are many different softwares out there, and you guys can experiment. There's a lot of videos out there for them, but this one will be covering OnShape because it's the best for our functionality and best for what we do here in Lambert Robotics. So here are quick applications of CAD. You can use it for 3D printing and engineering. So we use it a lot to design objects, and it allows you to print structural components for many different things, for programming cases, for intake mechanisms, and all these different things. And we could use 3D printers or CNC routers to make physical models that we can attach to a robot, which is really cool. So CAD can also be used in a variety of medical applications, such as bioprinting of prosthetic limbs to design these things and then print them out, or mechanically design them and print them out, which is really cool. And then computer hardware components. So like mapping out computers, identifying where motherboard and CPU should go, are all really essential applications of computer-aided design. So let's look at our first CAD model. So first we're going to talk about setting up OnShape here. So I'm going to exit out this presentation so we can look. So first, you just search up onshape.com. Mine already appears up. So if you guys have already used OnShape, that's awesome. You guys can click sign in and sign in. If not, we have this thing right here, which is creating a student account, or you can get started. OnShape will do a way better job at explaining this than I will. So I'm just gonna sign in to my account. Give me one moment. It's loading in. So yeah, here we go. So here we go. So this is kind of how your database will look like, your opening page. Please don't mind all the stuff besides all the stuff. You'll probably, if you're new, you'll probably see nothing on here. Don't worry about it. That's totally fine. So the way you create a document here in CAD, or the way that we're going to be doing it today, is you click create, click document. You can add it to different folders you want. I'm just going to add it to my own by me folder, and I'm going to name it CAD tutorial number 1. I'm going to create, and it'll automatically create this document. So when you open this page, you'll see a lot of different things in here. And so please absolutely do not mind at all. There's a lot of different things on this bar you can see. And so please don't mind that a lot of this stuff will be covered in later tutorials. But today we're going to start off very simple with different things. So at the bottom, you can see that there are two different things. There's a thing called Part Studio. So a Part Studio is basically where you're designing your components and designing your parts, which is where you're designing individual components. And then assembly is where you put them all together into one. So assembly, we'll actually delete this. We really don't need this today. We'll just be looking at a Part Studio. So let's properly name our parts here. So naming conventions are really important in CAD to identify many different components. So we're just going to name this one Intro to CAD. So you can name it as well. So I hope you guys are following along with this tutorial. And so first thing we're gonna do is you see a lot of these planes here. So we're only gonna be working with one of these planes. So we're just gonna do the top plane. And so the first lesson we're gonna be covering today, if we continue on, is sketches. So we're gonna sketches are basically 2D representations of objects in CAD. In the mechanical field, sketches can be used to map out different components of a larger design, or can lead to the development of many different 3D objects. So let's create our first sketch here. So we're gonna exit out of this presentation, and we have our top plane here. So the way we're gonna create a sketch is we see this nice little component up here. It's called sketch. So we click sketch over here. We're gonna pick our plane. So we just want to do the top plane. So we're just gonna pick plane. Do not worry about planes right now. We will be covering them later in a later tutorial. So let's orient. So this right here at the top is our viewing window. So our viewing window. So it's viewing windows are always 3D. And so if you click on any one of these in the side area, you can change your viewing. So I'll click front here. I can see the side of the 3D plane. But for this one, we're just going to be looking at the top plane. So we have our sketch here. So the first sketch we'll be looking at is, there are many different sketches here. The two ones we'll be looking at today are circle, or center point circle, and rectangle. So we'll start off with a rectangle here. So to creating a sketch, all you gotta do is, this is a corner rectangle. So we're just going to go into the corner and we're gonna create a sketch. So yeah, this is basically how you create a sketch of a rectangle. If you want to create a circle, you just do something like this here, and there you go, you have a circle. So we're just gonna undo that. I don't want to use a circle right now, but because we're gonna be doing something with this rectangle here in a second. So there are many different options. You can click center point rectangle, which will just create it from the center point. You'll draw a center component, it'll create it. You can also create a aligned rectangle, which gives you one side, and then it goes all the way up like this, which is really cool. Then for circles, we have 3-point circles. So we pick 3 points, which the circle is being made, and you'll create a circle here. So that's pretty cool. And the last one is ellipse. So ellipse, you create this big long ellipse shape that you can decide the length and width and all these different components that make it up. And so you have an ellipse here. That's more like a circle, but nevertheless. All right, so let's continue on with our presentation. So lesson 2, we'll be looking at dimensions. So dimensions are extremely important because when looking at CAD, you always want to be as exact as possible with dimensions. You can see this image right here. This is an example of a dimension below. And so to make our designs accurate and perfect, OnShape has a dimension feature that allows you to set the exact length, width, and angle between different components. So let's practice this with OnShape. So here we have a rectangle. We're just going to use the same rectangle last time, but let's say I don't want just a rectangle. I want to create a rectangle that is a square, which has equal length and width, each 3 inches long. So what I'm going to do here is, if you see, there's this this arrow-like component, excuse me, up at the top here. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click this side here because I want to make this 3. So this right now is around 3.5. I don't want that to be 3.5. I want that to be 3. So I'm just going to change this length. And when you look at that, it creates a length of 3, which is pretty cool. Here, we're going to do the same thing for this side. And so we want that to also be 3. And there you go. We have a square, right? It's not centered, but nevertheless, it's a square, which is really cool. And so let's do another example with a different thing. So let me just delete this rectangle here. Okay, so now we have 2 sides here, and we want to create, let's say we want a 15-degree angle between the 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to click on both sides, and you can see it forms an angle. So right now we have a 90-degree angle. We don't want it to be 90. We want it to be 15 degrees. So we're going to type in 1.5, and it'll create a nice 15-degree angle here for us, which is really cool. And yeah, you can see it says 15 here. One thing that to note is that when you make a dimension, what happens is that it is locked in place. And so if I what happens is if I try to change the length of this here to 4, I also changes this length. And so because this is locked in place here. Now if I want to, let's say if I dimensionate this to 3, I can do that, but there's many different ways in which this won't work. And so it's really important to understand that it'll you can see that on that one it locked this 4 1 in place and just changed this 3 1. So when dimensions are created, they are locked in place. Sorry about that. They are locked in place. So keep that in mind. Let's look at another example quickly. We have a circle and we want to change its radius. Here, we're going to use this 3-pointer circle. Let's just do a center point. Perfect. All right. We want to create we want it to be also 3 inches. So we're going to just click on the circle perimeter and it'll automatically show us the radius. And so we click 3 and automatically it changes into 3. That's awesome. All right, so our last lesson we'll be looking at today is extrusion. So extrusion is the process of converting 2D objects into 3D objects as shown by this lovely image on the right here. These images can be printed or they can be make up larger designs of larger components of many different objects. So let's make our first extrusion. So for extrusions, what I'm simply going to do here is I'm going to I'm going to exit the sketch first, and I have this nice circle here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the circle, and then I'm going to click extrude. Now, this interface system here will come up, this sub component, this little snippet, and don't worry about anything on here. All we're going to do is to set it to solid and new, and our depth, we can change this depth to 0.25 inches. It's a 0.25 inches. This is exactly what we want. And we'll be covering a lot more about advanced extrusions later, about different ways that you can add, delete, or create new different extrusions. So we have a 0.25 inch extrusion, and this creates a nice circle here. And so we can, do a lot of different things with the circle to make it into a design that we're going to use for our CAD. All right, for the last thing, we're going to do a little bit of a practice challenge to see reviewing what we learned today. So our task today is to create a 3-story cake. So so here are the specifications. And so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to do that. Please pause this video, review the previous parts of this video if you need to about how to extrude and how to dimensionate and how to create sketches to create this. I promise you, all the stuff you're doing here, you will be able to create this project. So please pause the video and go forth with your challenge. All right, welcome back, guys. As you can see, there's this image here. I forgot to let you know the image here. If your image looks something like this, phenomenal job. You guys, you're already a CAD superstar. But if you did not get the solution, that's totally fine. Let's do this together. So let's delete this here. I don't want this. Okay, so what does it tell us to do first? So it says that we should create a first layer should be a circle with a 1-inch diameter. So that's simple. We create a sketch here. Top plane, and then we will open it up here and we create this nice circle here, but we want it to be 1 inch, so we'll dimensionate it to 1 inch. So just click on the circle and boom, we have a 1 inch circle. So then we have this, we have to know what extrusion we have to make. So this is a 0.5 inch extrusion, which is 0.5 inch thick layer. So we're just going to click here. Actually, before I do that, I do want to rename, see if I can rename this to something. I'll call it first. So you can keep it, but usually naming conventions dictate that you should do that. So we'll click here, and then Yeah, oops, I accidentally created a sketch here, my bad. So we have a first extrusion, just click on it. We'll do a 0.5 inch. So I'll create this nice model here, which is really cool. Then we're gonna edit this, we'll just call it, we don't need to edit this, we're gonna edit the name of this right here first. There you go. Then we'll go over to our second circle. So remember, circles are usually have to be centered. And so the next circle, it says that our second layer should be 0.75 inch in diameter, centered above the other circle. And all right, so let's go into that. We're gonna create a sketch, and we're gonna click not the plane. We're gonna click the surface of this sketch here, so that we can do that pretty easily. So we're gonna start here. Let's extend out. You can just set it to any arbitrary length because we're gonna set the length later. Click on dimension, then click on the outside here. I'm gonna type in 0.5. Actually, sorry, it was 0.75. So 0.75. There you go. Beautiful. So then we're gonna extrude this out. Just click on the surface here on the inside, and then click extrude. Make sure everything's set to solid. We're gonna add actually to this one, so don't worry about it. It's gonna add to an extrusion, and so we're gonna set this to 0.5 inches. There you go. Here's our second extrusion, and then let's go to our third one. So here we're gonna click the top here, and we're gonna click the center point, and we're gonna click it. So it's gonna be 0.5. This time is 0.5. If you recall, here we have a 0.5 inch radius for our third layer centered above the other circle. So then we're going to click in the center here. So there you go. We have the cake, and or like a 3-layer cake with 3 different circles. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Here we also have an optional thing you guys can do. See if you can change the color of the layers. But if you didn't know how to do this, just click on whatever your extrusion was. Actually, before I do that, let me rename this. First circle. Wrong one. Awesome. So now, how would you change layers? Well, you would just right click here, and you see this add appearance, second to last thing, it should be before delete. So you click add appearance, and you can change the color to whatever you want. Let's make this one blue. And then we'll do that for the rest of the layers. So here, gonna add appearance, red. We'll make this one red, and then we'll go back up here. And so this is the first circle. So this is blue. Let's go to the third circle. And then here we'll go. Awesome. So we have now our 3-layer cake. And so alright, thank you guys for listening to this tutorial. Here are some emails. We'll be posting them in the description. We hope you join us for future tutorials.